history of Rome begins with a story about two brothers, Romulus and Remus.
Hello.
Romulus and Remus were two twin brothers who were abandoned by their parents and raised by a wolf. They were later discovered by a shepherd and his wife, where they grew up to be shepherds like their adoptive father. Many years later, the brothers set out to create their own city.
I think we should pick a city. Hey, you just said what I just said. Hey, you did it again. Okay, stop it. Stop it. Seriously, stop it.
But, like all brothers, they quarreled over the location of their city. They quarreled until Romulus began to build walls around the base of the Palatine Hill. In response to Romulus's construction of the wall, Remus continuously made fun of him.
You call this a wall? It's 3 feet high. I could throw feathers at the thing and it would topple. I mean, it's perfect for trying to keep ants out.
Remus even had the nerve to jump over Romulus's wall. So, Romulus killed him. There are several different versions to how Remus died that day. One version is that Remus was killed by one of Romulus's followers. Another version says that the gods were angry with Remus, so they killed him. Anyway, after Remus's death, Romulus founded Rome in 753 BC and became Rome's first king. The last of the 7 kings was overthrown in 509 BC, marking the start of the Roman Republic. As years went on, Rome found itself in the middle of many different battles and wars, but none were more vigorous or treacherous than the Punic Wars. These 3 wars were fought between Rome and the city-state of Carthage. The first war broke out in 264 BC when Rome interfered on a dispute on the Carthaginian-controlled island of Sicily. This war ended with Rome emerging victorious and in control of Sicily. Rome later took control of the islands of Corsica and Sardinia as well, but Carthage established a base of influence in Spain under General Hamilcar Barca. Before his death, Hamilcar made his younger son Hannibal swear a blood oath to the destruction of Rome. In 219 BC, Hannibal marched his army into the Roman-controlled city of Saguntum, beginning the Second Punic War. Hannibal then marched his troops all the way to Italy, where they scored a string of victories over Roman troops. However, the Romans began to rebound after their defeat and won victories in Spain and North Africa, forcing Hannibal's troops to fall back and abandon their struggle. This left Rome in control of Spain. The Third Punic War was the result of several members of the Roman Senate trying to convince their colleagues that Carthage was a continuing threat to Rome's supremacy. This led Carthage declaring war on the neighboring state of Numidia, breaking their treaty with Rome. In response, Rome sent an army down to North Africa, which began the Third Punic War. Carthage withstood Roman siege for 2 years until a change in command led Rome to launch a forceful attack on its harbor side in 146 BC. The Romans pushed into the city, destroying house after house until Carthage finally surrendered after 7 days of horrific bloodshed. The remaining 50,000 citizens of Carthage were sold into slavery and the city was burned to the ground. After the Punic Wars, Rome decided that they would start conquering some other places, so the Roman general Julius Caesar set out to conquer Gaul. While serving as governor of Gaul in 58 BC, the Romans suffered some invasions from Switzerland and Germany, but they were both driven out. Caesar finally conquered all of Gaul in 50 BC. In early 49 BC, as his command in Gaul was coming to an end, Caesar began a civil war with his old associate, Pompey the Great, who had allied himself with the Roman Senate against Caesar. In a surprising assault, Caesar invaded Italy and drove Pompey into Macedonia in less than 70 days. He then sailed to Spain, where Pompey had strong support. Victorious in Spain, Caesar sailed to Macedonia, where he defeated Pompey at the Battle of Pharsalus in 48 BC. However, Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC by members of the Roman Senate, including Marcus Junius Brutus, who was Caesar's second choice as heir. Following Caesar's assassination, Mark Antony, Caesar's cousin, allied with Octavian, Caesar's son, and defeated Brutus's forces at the Battle of Philippi in 42 BC. Mark Antony later allied himself with Egypt, and Octavian thought presented a threat to Rome. The former allies went to war, but Antony's forces were defeated by Octavian in the Battle of Actium. Octavian then made himself the first emperor of Rome and named himself Augustus Caesar. This initiated the end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of the Roman Empire. Augustus ruled the empire from 31 BC until 14 BC when he died. Before he died, Augustus reformed laws, initiated vast building projects, and secured the empire a lasting name as one of the greatest powers in history. Following his death, power passed on to Tiberius, who continued many of Augustus's policies. This trend would continue more or less with the emperors that followed, Caligula, Claudius, and Nero. Both Caligula and Claudius were commendable rulers, but they were both assassinated in office. Less was so of Nero, who committed suicide. Nero's suicide initiated the period of social unrest known as the Year of Four Emperors. These four emperors were Galba, Otho, Vitellius, and Vespasian. Following Nero's suicide, Galba assumed rule in 69 CE and, unfit for the job, was assassinated by his Praetorian Guard. Otho succeeded him on the day of his death, and ancient records indicate he was expected to be a good emperor. General Vitellius, however, sought power for himself and so initiated a brief civil war, which ended in Otho's suicide and Vitellius' ascent to the throne. Vitellius proved no more fit to rule than Galba, so General Vespasian marched on Rome and took power. Vespasian initiated massive building projects, economic prosperity, and the expansion of the Roman Empire upon his ascent to the throne. Vespasian ruled from 69 to 79 CE, and in that time initiated the building of the Colosseum, which his son Titus, who ruled from 79 to 81 CE, would complete. Titus's early reign saw the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE, which buried the cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum. Titus died in 81 CE and was succeeded by his brother Domitian. His autocratic methods and policies got him assassinated in 96 CE. Domitian's successor was his advisor Nerva, who was the first of the 5 good emperors. His 4 successors were Trajan, Hadrian, Antonius Pius, and Marcus Aurelius. Under their leadership, Rome grew stronger, more stable, and expanded dramatically. When Marcus Aurelius died in 169 CE, his co-emperor Lucius Verus became emperor. After him was Aurelius' son Commodus, who was one of the most disgraceful emperors of Rome. He was assassinated in 192 CE, which raised the prefect Pertinax to power. Pertinax governed for 3 months before he was assassinated. Pertinax's assassination led to the rise of Septimus Severus, who ruled for several years. He was succeeded by his sons Caracalla and Geta until Caracalla had his brother murdered. Caracalla ruled until 217 CE when he was assassinated by his bodyguard. He was followed by Alexander Severus, who was assassinated in 235 CE, which plunged Rome into a period of chaos known as the Crisis of the 3rd Century. This period was characterized by constant civil war, social unrest, economic instability, and the division of the empire into 3 parts. The empire was later reunited and split into 2 halves for efficient administration. These halves were the Western and Eastern Roman Empire. In later years, Rome fought a series of wars against invading Goths, known today as the Gothic Wars. At the Battle of Adrianople in 376 CE, Roman Emperor Valens was defeated, which marked the decline of the Western Roman Empire. The Western Roman Empire officially ended in 476 CE, when Emperor Romulus Augustus was deposed by the Germanic king Odoacer. The Eastern Roman Empire continued on as the Byzantine Empire until it fell in 1453 CE.